Hello, America. This is Call of Duty Goddess. Today is August the 16th, 2016. Well, it seems there have been 15 GITMO detainees released at one time. It's one of the largest, if not the largest, release of GITMO detainees. So I've scraped together a few pieces to answer some questions that I had on it. So let's get started here with these detainees.
Jared, there's fallout today after a major transfer from the U.S. detention center at Guantanamo Bay in Cuba, with 15 detainees just released to the United Arab Emirates.
Now, I have to stop right there, first of all, when he mentions that these detainees will be going to the United Arab Emirates. It reminds me of something about the United Arab Emirates. You see, they purchased the weapons for the Libyan rebels to use in the Benghazi attack. So, with their money, they funded the rebels that killed Chris Stevens and 3 other brave Americans in those attacks. Why would we transfer 15 Gitmo detainees to them? They are co-conspirators in the Benghazi attack. Could it be possibly that they are one of the heaviest funders in Hillary Clinton's global initiative? So I just quickly want to bring this to your attention. The United Arab Emirates purchased the weapons for the Libyan rebels. Qatar transferred the weapons to Libya.
The Pentagon calling it the largest detainee release under President Obama so far, and that just leaves 61 detainees remaining there as the deadline looms for the president to keep his promise to close Gitmo down.
So in that news report, like many others, I could not find who exactly the detainees were and what group they were affiliated with. That was very important to me. So I did find it on Kelly. I'm not sure how to pronounce her last name. I'm not going to try. She's a senator for New Hampshire. She says that the Gitmo detainees have dangerous terrorist ties. And she has very nicely listed them along with a report that describes who they are, what they did, what they were arrested for, and what groups they are affiliated with. I'll leave all the links below for these and you can check them out for yourself, but I just want to briefly look at who these terrorists were and what their ties were. So now I've tried to make this a little bit smaller but easier to comprehend what the affiliations are of these terrorists that are being released. I can't really pronounce their names, so I'm not even going to try, but I will outline them for you and show you who they are and their affiliations. So, out of these first 8 terrorists, 6 of them are known affiliates of Al-Qaeda. Out of these last 7, 6 of these terrorists have known ties to Al-Qaeda. So in total, 12 out of 15 of these releases are affiliated with Al-Qaeda.
You know, I don't think they should be brought to the United States. I think that the Supreme Court sort of settled, right or wrong, the Supreme Court weighed into this and said that detainees, while they don't have the full breadth of rights as U.S. citizens, they have the right to habeas corpus.
So wait a minute here. They have the right to habeas corpus? I kind of thought we lost our rights to habeas corpus on December 31st, 2011 with the NDAA 2012 Act, which authorizes the indefinite detention without trial or indictment of any U.S. citizen designated as enemies by the executive. Oh, I see. That's just for U.S. citizens. Okay. Not international terrorists. Okay, I got it. The individuals concerned are not only those who have been captured in the field of battle, which all of these have, we just saw that, but also those who've never left the United States or participated in any military action. The law concerns any person designated by the administration as a member of Al-Qaeda or the Taliban. Most of those people were members of Al-Qaeda or the Taliban, and who takes part in hostile action against the United States. but also anyone who substantially supports these organizations. Well, gee, that sounds kind of like the UAE, which we are giving all of these terrorists to, and Qatar, as well as Hillary Clinton, because the United Arab Emirates is the ones that purchased the weapons to use to attack our consulate in Benghazi. Qatar gave the weapons to the terrorists. Hillary Clinton helped fund the terrorists.
The White House says only 7 have returned to the battleground. They say just 5%. But take a look at the figures from the DNI, the Director of National Intelligence. This is a report earlier this year. Look at this. Of 676 released, 204 have been confirmed or suspected. They call it re-engaging. In other words, resorting to terrorism or the battlefield. I mean, Naveed, that's 1/3, 30%.
Yeah,
go back to want to try to kill us.
Absolutely. Look, I don't want. I'm going to make this clear. I'm not advocating that these are people that should be walking in, civilized society. I totally agree with you on that, John. I think the question is, where do we physically keep them?
Well, gee, I've got an idea on that. Sometimes I think people just overthink things too much.
Americans have died. Paul Lewis, who is the liaison to GITMO, let me tell you what he said to a congressional committee. He said, what I can tell you, unfortunately, there have been Americans that have died because of Guantanamo detainees. When anybody dies, it's a tragedy. We don't want anybody to die because we transfer detainees. However, it's the best judgment and the considered judgment of this administration and the previous administration that we should close the facility. So what they're doing is keeping it open, emptying it. Maybe they'll send some to Supermax, but the rest of them are going back and in some cases resorting to killing us.
How can we keep these people legally? And then secondly, perhaps if we can't, then an intermediary where they're actually put somewhere where they can be watched, and I'm not suggesting that they're opened up to society, but they can be watched, whether it's a quote-unquote rehabilitation center, which essentially means, we would hope, a very closely watched halfway house. That may be a better way to do this. And then look, the other question is, what's going to happen with ISIS? Are we going to start taking people off the battlefield from Syria and Iraq and bring them here? That's still an open-ended question. Where are they going to go?
That's a big one. Yeah, Naveed Jamali, thank you, for your insight. Certainly it seems that as we empty GITMO, some will be coming here to the United States, and we will watch them. Thank you.
A halfway house for people that do this, and bringing them into our prison, I don't care what kind of prison it is. I don't think they should be on our soil at all. But, I don't know a lot about war. I've never really thought a lot in detail, in depth, about what to do with these prisoners of war or terrorists. What's your thoughts? This is Call of Duty Goddess signing off, and as always, I've got your 6.